That's a
So
nice beat, though. It's bopping.
spooky
It's like,
season's
what the
here.
hell?
We start off with a creepy countdown. We want to play a game, right? So today's game is favorite horror movie of all time. That's where we're starting, and we're gonna work our way into favorite horror video game of all time. Special episode today. We got a full house here. This is a large majority of the Press for Time crew. We'll go around. Everybody will do a quick introduction, and we'll just jump right into it. So, for those of you, Benny Rose here. I have Monica,
Hi.
the one and only Tyler.
What's up?
We got Braden
Hello.
and Chad.
Hello.
Come on, I was hoping do something. I don't know. I know I'm always the weird one. So
I've
I
been
feel
gone
like-
all weekend. My energy levels are diminished. I've spent everything I had.
Oh, I'm with you. Listen, the nightmare I had to deal with today. I was fighting a toilet, and the toilet won. And it's not what
Ooh,
you
no.
think. It's not what you think. Okay.
Okay.
Full disclosure.
One too many
That-
trips to Taco Bell today? What happened?
No, the toilet was broken. And everybody knows I'm tech savvy. I'm not a handyman, but that toilet needed to be fixed. So
Not
I
a
was
hand-
fighting. I was fighting to get that flood valve fixed and everything, and the lug nut was not working in my favor, and I brute forced yanked it right out of the toilet.
I know how
So
that
I-
feels. I had
yeah,
I had
it
a
was
contractor
crazy.
break my sink pipes, and I was like, "Oh God!" I found out
Oh.
waking up one morning to a flooded second floor in my bathroom. And I went, "Oh
Ooh.
no!"
Tyler knows all
No
about
dice.
sinks, right?
Yeah.
I know a little
Yes.
something about sinks. I have a
Yeah,
very
I
nice
bet you
sink
do.
now. I have a
After
beautiful,
how many
nice,
how many
deep
months has it been?
kitchen? 2 months. It took 2 months to get a new fucking sink.
Uh,
Insane.
so I mean, horror. These are horror stories.
They
but
are.
We're gonna go right
The
into
horrors
horror
of homeownership.
movies. Scary, right? October. What do we
Spooky.
fear? We fear people being sick. We feel, stomach bubbling. We feel like bathroom toilets exploding, all that good stuff.
For real.
So we're gonna go right in. So we're gonna start with I'm gonna pick. Okay, we throw everybody off. Full disclosure, none of us, for the most part, know what we've chosen. Mine might be a little obvious if you're, good with the eyes. If not, surprise later. But we're gonna start with Chad.
My
Favorite horror movie of all time.
Saw.
First one,
I
original.
thought. I thought.
No, I think X. Honestly, I really like X.
Really?
I really like
Wow.
X.
That is high praise.
Yeah. I mean, it's you never feel for the villain. If I can get a movie that makes me feel for the villain and it's still twisted and you hate the main character, works for me.
Okay. For those that don't know, I'm working my way through. I mean, we talked about it last week, but I'm working my way through the Saw movies. I just finished 5. I just finished 5, and I'm working on 6.
They're good.
So
My condolences, because it's not really great from here.
yeah,
I gave up a Jigsaw. I don't even know what Spiral is about. If we even count it, I think we do.
Spin-off,
Spiral counts,
but
yeah.
it's cool. I mean, it's a good movie. It's a different movie, but it's a good movie.
But it's
Yeah.
technically 9, right? That's what makes Saw.
that's what makes
Yeah.
10.
Yeah.
So
it's not.
canon,
So it's not like Fast.
unfortunately.
Yeah, it's not like Fast and Furious where they keep the numbers, but Hobbs and Shaw is its own separate, non-numbered thing. Spiral
Yeah.
is technically Saw 9. Yep.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about that, but okay. So, any other reasons you want to talk about, like why you feel that movie has kind of impacted you so much? I mean, it is a newer movie, so that's my thought process. Is like, it must have made that much of an impact on you, which is cool because I had
Yeah.
movies years ago that did the same thing for me. So,
Yeah. Well, it's like, okay, so I'll use an example. My favorite thing of all time is Star Wars. Like, there's nothing Dragon Ball Z or Star Wars. But either way, my whole point is either one of those things, like Dragon Ball Z was done early, a long time ago. If you can bring out a movie into the theaters again and I go watch it more than once, then we're golden. Like Saw, it's a great series. You go, 1 to 4 is great in my opinion. And then 5 to 7, I would say the original story is decent, but then you're like, okay, but for this movie to dive into what we never really got about John Kramer, how we didn't have that buildup of like, you knew he was a bad guy, quote unquote, but you never felt for him. You never cared. He was just like, oh, it's just another bad guy. Like Michael Myers. Like you didn't know much about him. They're building him. It sucks right now, but who knows what they'll do with the next iteration. You know, as long as you can give me more development on the character, then I love it. Like to care about the villain is like hard for me. Like, why would you ever care about the bad guy? Why would you ever want the bad guy to win? And that, I
Right.
guess, like my selling point.
Right. No, that's cool. I mean, if you think about most slashers nowadays, for the most
Yeah.
part, you're kind of rooting for them, but you're not sympathizing for them.
Yeah.
Like, you're
Yeah,
not
like
like,
you
you
want
know,
you want to
"Oh."
see the slasher succeed because that's what makes the movie, but you don't have
Yeah.
like empathy for the character. It's just, hey,
Right.
I understand for this movie to be good, the slasher has to kill X number of people. But in the end, you still want them to get defeated. You know, they're never gonna, you know, they never die for real, but you
Yeah.
want them to lose. Whereas I feel like with what Chad's saying, correct me if I'm wrong, but with Saw X, not only do you know the end of the story, so you're
Yeah.
like you're invested a little more even already because of that, but you're like, okay, no, I want John's message to get out. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, and it's like, okay, I'll use this example real quick and then I promise I won't. My grandpa had cancer, right? He had lymphoma and something else. Like oh my god, I can't remember what it's called. But anyways, my point is he beat the cancer, right? So his whole thing was he's great now. He's 82 years old, does fine, goes on walks every day, all this stuff. Imagine having cancer, like in this movie, you know, John's gonna die of cancer in the third movie. You know, I mean, he's dead. Like, but to have that whole development that this guy's like, I almost gave up, like in the trailer, I almost gave up being Jigsaw, and then to find out that these guys just said, hey, we're gonna take your money, we're gonna pry upon your heartstrings, make you pay money, and be like, oh, JK, we didn't do nothing. I mean, literally, watch that trailer again. It's just like, I guess because it captures my whole struggle with my grandpa, helping my grandpa when he was sick and doing all this. And it's just like, dude, I would have gone evil for that. You know what I mean? Like to have like a doctor be like, oh, you're good. Just take this water and you'll be good. And then to find out like, there's like, fuck you. You know, it's like, okay, next level. So I guess it hit me different because of my family. So, but I loved it. So Tobin is
Well,
great.
Well said. I mean, it kind of gives me Shang Tsung vibes if you think about it. Another
Yes.
topic that you and I talk a lot about with MK1. As soon as you said
Yeah.
that, I'm like, wow, it's like really just like, scheming, pretty much scheming their way through life.
Yeah.
And they picked the wrong person, ideally. So
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I
That
do have a
makes a lot of
question,
sense.
Chad.
Yeah.
How many times did you watch Dragon Ball Super Broly in the theater?
Do you want to be honest with you? I hated that movie.
Wow.
so-
spitting venom.
This is the thing. I hate movies that have that animation. I hate when it's a 3D to a 4D or 2D to a 3D animation where there's
So
certain scenes where it's so messed up. For me, I
get that. I get that.
Look-
I would have
look
rather
at
they
Z.
kept the whole film flat. Yeah, I would have
Yeah.
rather they kept the whole film flat. But to me, they used it so sparingly. I was okay with it in Broly. Whereas the new one,
Yeah.
Superhero,
The whole,
Dog
the
shit.
whole,
Yeah, don't get me-
the whole thing.
Don't get me started.
Dog shit.
I waited for that film to go on HBO or whatever it was. I was not paying for that. I was like,
I went. I was day
chance.
one. I went day one to see it
Really?
because I was like, you know what, I got to give it a shot. But I saw Broly 8 times in the theater.
Really?
Wow.
Yes. I loved Broly.
I liked the 3D
I
that
loved
it
the
uses.
fights. I
'cause
felt
it
like
feels-
they used it sparingly
it's
and they used
like
it for,
for
like the
emphasis.
big key blasts.
It's like for
Exactly, to
emphasis. It's not
emphasize.
for.
I guess
But they
my
kept it
problem is-
off the characters. They
Yeah. Oh.
they used the 3D for the effects,
The
but kept the
backgrounds.
characters flat. Whereas with
Yeah.
Superhero, they make the characters 3D, and I think it looks like absolute monkey shit.
Yeah. Well, my thing is like go back and watch Android Saga or Frieza returning with Trunks all the way up to Cell. I hate the Cell saga. If I'm being honest with you, once he gets perfect, it's really lame. But the animation before all the way up is insane. Like the punching in the stomachs, they go backwards. Like when Piccolo fights 17.
Oh, yeah.
When Trunks kills Frieza, which Trunks is my boy. Like I'll go see anything they put out for him a million times. But yeah, I don't want to drag on. I'm sorry. I don't want to pull.
I
us
know
off
this
of
is
your
my fault.
horror
I
story.
opened this can of worms.
No,
I
you're
just had
good.
to
You're
ask.
good. You're good. Because I can go on forever
Listen,
with Dragon Ball Z.
Listen,
Like,
we're passionate. We're passionate. That's what it's about, and
Yeah.
we segue when we're in it, and that was
Yeah.
pure venom. You threw it out, and I don't think anybody expected it.
Oh, bro, that's
did
that's
not.
my sweet spot. That's everything to me. Dragon Ball Z will to the day I
Oh,
die.
yes.
My daughter like knows all the characters. Everybody's like, bro, she's like 6. How? I'm just like, we
Yep.
watch it avidly. Like it's my favorite thing ever.
Yeah, dude.
Awesome.
I have a picture of my daughter when I think she was 2 or 3, sitting on my lap watching, funnily enough, the Cell Saga. But she watched the entire. We watched the entire series, and
Yeah.
she loved it. Growing up, she had little Goku and Vegeta action figures, and she would have them fight. And
Yeah.
she's one of the smart kids. She knows that Vegeta's the best. So
Oh,
we're good.
yeah.
We're good there. We're good there.
How many
Sure,
fights did he
sure.
win in Super? Just checking. That weren't against a child.
Calm down.
Yeah.
Calm down. Plot armor. Plot armor.
True.
All right.
Toriyama hates that man. Anyway, Braden.
Thank you, Chad. That was good.
Yeah, Braden, the non-horror movie
I
participant.
don't watch many. I watched a bunch of the scary movies when I was a kid because I thought they were funny.
They are
2
funny.
Especially was one that I liked a lot. But more recently was The Conjuring 2, and I did quite enjoy that. Albeit the whole concept of like fighting off the kid's demon was a little weird. I think I'm thinking of the right movie. Yeah. Like there's some stuff with like the basement that was really weird. It was like, what? Why? First of all, why is their basement flooded?
Was that the
I
first
don't
one?
Is it the first one or is it the second one?
I think that was the first one.
I think it's
I
the
love the
first
first one.
Where it's like
Mhm.
dragging them underneath the water in like their basement. Okay, that was the first
Oh
one. I thought it was
no,
was-
no, that is the
what?
second one. When Patrick
Okay.
Wilson goes down because they're in England.
Yeah,
and Patrick
yeah.
Wilson goes down into the flooded basement of the flat. Yep, that is. The
yeah.
second one. You're
I
right.
thought it was like it was pretty like it was interesting. It was just like 'cause I don't watch a lot of horror movies, so I thought it was cool. But at the same time, there was stuff like that, where it's like that was just weird. But, like,
Very
I'm gonna
Pol-
send.
poltergeist
gonna-
like.
yeah,
Is that
Mhm.
is that the one at the end where they're like in the basement and the nun is like coming at them and they're like in that
Yeah.
circle and he's
I
like
think so.
screaming the priest or whatever? I think
Yeah.
that's that
Yeah.
movie.
Because
Yeah.
the nun's like a side movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I was like, I can't remember. I
is
feel
it the
horrible.
same monster from that Nun movie?
Yes.
I don't. Okay.
Yeah,
the
the
Yeah, they're
Nun-
coming out with
The
the
Nun
second Nun
is
movie
the
pretty
Conjuring.
soon.
It's
so-
out.
It was
Oh,
horrible.
it is out
was-
already? Oh,
it
no.
was the worst.
came and
it was
went
the
from theaters.
worst movie I've ever seen in my
Oh,
life.
that's so
Ooh.
upsetting.
Yeah, I heard it was just terrible. I heard it was
Like-
because I liked the first one. I liked the first
Yeah.
Nun movie. I thought it was pretty solid.
That's part of that like Annabelle sagas too, isn't it? Like that's
Yes,
a whole
yes,
Annabelle's
movie
the
yes,
that's
Conjuring
about-
as
yeah.
well.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
Let's just find a little
Oh.
character in the background and let's make 5
But
movies
it
about
was
them.
so
Okay.
bad. Like imagine like having a movie, the character, the bad guy winning, right? And then you're like, oh, we have to have some plot armor. The nun's beating the girl and wine falls on her leg, and they're like, the power of Jesus Christ compels you. The
Oh,
nun
no.
catches on fire and explodes. Like, okay.
Wow, they just couldn't think of anything. They're like, oh, this sounds good.
To be fair, that's pretty much how all the fights are won in the Bible too. It's all just
You're
plot
not
armor.
wrong.
It's all bullshit.
I wouldn't know.
I'm getting my ass stomped out here. Jesus help me! And then all of a sudden, woo!
Yeah.
Super Jesus powers fix everything.
Crazy.
You are not
say it.
wrong.
Really, the most unbelievable piece of fiction ever written is the Bible.
I mean, as someone that grew up in the Catholic Church, yes, absolutely.
I mean, I grew up in the Catholic Church too, and then I stopped when I had
Same.
sense.
Then I stopped. Did you stop growing up? Yeah, we all know, Benny.
I didn't stop growing up. I stopped believing in church.
Well, yeah. Well, yeah,
Segue.
that's all bullshit, but that's a whole
Hold
different.
on-
That's a
hold
whole
on a
other
segue.
episode.
I don't want part of that episode for sure.
Yeah, no, that's not. It's not a good episode. Do you know what is good though? My favorite horror film,
Let's hear it.
Event Horizon, the
it.
1997 Paul W.S. Anderson space horror thriller that kicked off. I mean, obviously, Alien came first, but I feel like the majority
lot
of
of
the
inspiration.
space and sci-fi horror that we get now comes from that blending of the religious aspects, the portal to hell, and space. And without Event Horizon, there would be no Dead Space.
There it is.
So-
I was waiting for it.
Yep,
I knew.
yep, yeah.
I have never seen this. I'm looking right now. And
Gotta watch it.
I,
So it's a B movie. It is
Okay.
the definition of a B movie, but it's my favorite. Like there's nothing in the world it's my comfort movie. As weird as that is to say, it's truly one of my favorites. I've seen it. I mean, I've seen it so many times. I own it in so many different formats. I've got the collector's Steelbook 4K. I've got the old collector's Shout Factory Blu-ray. I've got the old original Blu-ray from before that.
Yeah.
And I've
Do you
watched
have
the
it on
movie.
Laserdisc?
I don't have it on Laserdisc, no.
Bro,
You have
Kurt
homework to do.
Russell, Lawrence Fishburne.
It's got a great cast too.
Yeah, and the
Yeah,
guy who
Lawrence
plays Alan
Fishburne,
from
Sam
Jurassic
Neill.
Park.
Yep, old Sam Neill.
It definitely looks its time. So like,
Oh, yeah.
go in open minded.
It's a
Most
low
people
budget
have-
1997 horror movie made by Paul W.S. Anderson, the man that went on to do the Resident Evil movies and all that kind of stuff. Like, he's not the world's greatest director, just it is what it is. But dude, I'm telling you, everybody in this movie is given 110%, and it is an absolute fucking treat for me from start
it
to
looks
finish.
cool.
I love it.
It definitely looks cool. I'm looking at him.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Definitely-
You should
I'm definitely interested.
Definitely give it a watch. Yeah, it's so great, and it was so formative for me as one of the first horror films that I ever watched. And I don't know if it hit me at the right time or what, but I fell in love with it, and that has not gone away in the years and years and years since. So that's
Awesome.
my pick.
Good choice.
I'll definitely check it out.
Solid. Monica, I'm waiting. I want to know.
Oh man, let me tell you, it's hard to pick one because I was thinking
Of
about doing
course.
like, a TV series or something like that too. But like, I would say the movie that kind of really got me more into like horror was Evil Dead 2. Like,
Outstanding
I think
choice.
Yeah, absolutely great. I actually saw Army of Darkness first, then saw the second one, then saw the first one, and was very glad that they remade it. I don't know, for people that haven't watched it, like Evil Dead 2 is basically just a remake of Evil Dead 1, but funnier.
And a bigger budget.
And bigger budget
Yes.
and just way better. And it's directed by Sam Raimi, who did all the Spider-Man movies, the
My
Tobey
boy.
Maguire Spider-Man movies. Yep. It's just very it's like over the top gore, and it has like Bruce Campbell in it, who just like steals the show anything that he's in. It spawned like a TV series. There's plenty of video games about it, so I would definitely have to pick that as like my favorite movie.
Yeah, Evil Dead
Have
is
to concur.
fantastic. Such a
Yeah.
good I mean, just a good franchise on the whole. I feel, in my opinion, there are no bad entries.
Exactly, yeah.
Even the new one.
I mean, I do like the new one, but I would say like the first one. When I watched the first one, I was like,
exactly.
"Oh, this is a little the tree part of it." I was like, "Yikes, guys!"
You mean the
Yeah.
remake, right?
No, I mean
Not-
like the
not-
first one,
Oh,
like the very
okay.
first one. It was like the tree, like
The
part
tr-
of
yeah,
it,
in the
kind of
woods
threw
and
me
the-
off. And then it's like, but no, the second one is probably like to me the best horror movie of all time.
The second
Well, I
one
mean,
is
just for the
truly
record,
amazing.
my thumbs down went for
It's
Evil
for
Dead.
what,
for
what,
Rise.
Betty?
Evil
Oh,
Dead
okay.
Rises.
I was gonna say 2013 is the best in the series.
No,
Yeah,
no,
2013 is my
the last
favorite
one
one.
was trash
2013
panda.
scared the shit out of me. Like, I
was
don't get
great.
like that, and I like being scared in that movie. That is like top tier. Rise was
That's one of the
garbage.
very few movies that has managed to insidiously snake its way into me as an adult.
make you
like,
uncomfortable.
I-
Yep.
Yeah, like horror movies as a kid, you get scared. That it is what it is. But Evil Dead, the remake of Evil Dead, is one of the only things that like the images stuck with me
Yeah,
in a way that
Oscar.
was uncomfortable after the movie was over.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Have y'all seen real quick before I forget? Have y'all seen it has Olivia, is it Olivia Moon? It's the one where they're the scientists and they go down to the cellar and they're working at a school and they bring a dead dog back to life and the girl dies in the movie and she gets powers and it's the scariest movie I've ever seen in my life. Like the
No.
Parabellum effect or whatever that's called or something.
The
It's-
Lazarus
I promise
Effect
you- there you go. That
with
movie
Olivia
scared-
Wilde.
That movie. There you go.
Got it.
Scared the shit out of me. Like as a grown ass adult doing this in the movie theaters, bro, I've never felt like that with that movie.
Man, sometimes I'll hit him with the cross eye where it's like, I don't really want to see what's happening. So I'll just kind of cross my eyes a little bit. So it gets a little blurry. It's like, oh, okay. We're good now. I can watch this.
Scariest movie I've ever seen.
Nice. All right. That was a good, solid choice. And honestly, it's up there for me. It's top
Yeah.
5 easily.
Probably my
And
favorite
just-
franchise, my favorite horror franchise, I think would have to be Evil Dead.
Yeah, I think
Nice.
it's up there for me. But I was gonna say the weekend of FNAF that Saturday, I'm going to see
Yeah.
Evil Dead the musical,
Ooh,
really?
nice. I didn't know there was a
Yes.
musical.
which
That's
was
there's a
done,
musical?
No,
which
I
was
know
done.
that.
It was done years ago in the city, and I
Okay.
have like a VHS rip I can send you guys.
Yes, please.
Awesome. There was a song called "What the Fuck Is That." It is amazing, and apparently
I've
it's
said that about a
literally in my
dozen times
town.
throughout the movie. So
Yes, it's so good. But I never got to see it, and it's in my top of something I always wanted to see. They made a Toxic Avenger the musical at some point too, and missed that too. But this is coming back in Jersey in a couple of weeks, so I'm stoked. So I'm glad you
Nice.
said that. All right, so mine's going to be a little unique. So mine's a little obvious, but I'm going to put an honorable mention, primarily because I think that'll be the way of me sharing something that you don't know. Fair enough.
Okay.
So my honorable mention, which is very close in my all-time of all movies, is called People Under the Stairs. If anybody's seen that before.
I think I've heard the name.
I love the silence. That's what makes it special. So it's an early 90s horror movie that I saw it as a kid, and I saw it like it was my dad used to get movies ripped for him on VHS. So like a guy would send him
Yeah.
VHSs of like 3 movies on one tape.
Yeah.
And one of those movies when I was younger was this. And I didn't know anything about it. And it's pretty much about a young kid that is, he's living in a tough neighborhood. His mother's sick, and his sister is trying to raise money for the mother. And it comes to the point where like her boyfriend saying, well, the landlord owns all the liquor stores, all the buildings here. They're taking advantage of everybody. We want to hit them back. We want to rob them pretty much. So he wants to rob their house. And then basically takes the kid as kind of like a way to get in the house. So it comes to the point of this kid getting in the house and things are not what you think it is. And the kid gets locked in the house and it gets crazy. And for me, it was nerve-wracking. I watched that movie in like my bed as like a 12-year-old, shitting my pants, never able to go in my basement with any lights off. Because it's
that
exactly
is a
what you
stacked
think.
cast, man.
Yes.
It's
and
Wes Craven wrote and directed. It's
Yep.
got freaking Ving Rhames. It's got Everett McGill and Wendy Robbie from Twin Peaks.
Yep.
I mean,
And
that's
it's in that bizarre realm. So you have these two people in the house, like man and a woman, very like kind of religious, and they have a
Yeah.
daughter that they're kind of weird with, and like they make her sit upright when she's eating her food, and they tell her
you know what?
she
I think
can't
I
lick
have
the
seen a trailer for
spoon,
this.
and
So it's just a weird ass movie.
yeah.
yes, but the idea of the tension for me was like this kid's locked in the house. He's looking
Yeah.
for his friend
Yeah.
that they're and the house isn't big, but it's
Yeah.
like it's secured tight, and it just
Okay.
gets crazy. There's a pretty good amount of gore at the right times,
Okay.
and it's just man, it hits real close to home because I've lived in those neighborhoods and I know that mindset of that struggle, and people talking about the people with the money always gonna, so like it feels real to me.
Yeah.
And that was a big connection for it. But just the way that cast played the roles, you feel for everybody in their own ways.
Yeah.
And by the end of it, you're just like, you're rooting and you're so happy. And it's a great ending. It's kind of semi-predictable, like
Okay.
it saved the day in a sense, but it just leads in a good direction. I definitely recommend checking it out. And
Looks like you can stream it on Prime and Apple TV.
Nice.
there we go. And we're getting some crazy static. That was weird.
Yeah. That was weird. I've never heard that before.
I thought that was in my
No.
headset, so I didn't mention it. I just thought that
No,
was
that's Amazon taking it. So every time when you guys go on Amazon now, that movie's gonna come up because it's listening.
Yep.
yeah.
So
All right. Now we're
my-
gonna go
my
in reverse
official-
order. Oh, sorry,
I
I
bet
forgot.
I-
I
Oh,
cut you
yeah,
off.
no.
I bet
I
know
cut
what
you off
your
with your
official is.
honorable mention. We all know it's official.
Uh,
I was like, I hope
Yeah.
I
Hey, buddy.
when I say
Hey, buddy. hey, buddy. So I'm gonna do something that I've been doing on all these shows, but I'm gonna change it up. I'm gonna bring
God.
out a candle,
Damn it.
and I'm gonna bring
Different
out
candle.
a Good Guys new toy smell candle, a la Chucky. And I can't even open it, and I probably don't want to open it. But question is, which movie is my favorite of all time? Does anybody know?
Child's
There's
Play
the
2.
question.
I've only seen one of them, so I don't know.
I've only
That's
seen the
me.
new one with Mark Hamill, and that
Me
one was
too.
funny.
Me too. I only saw it because Luke Skywalker.
Yeah, just because Mark Hamill was just a Joker, was in it.
Oh my god!
I'm a
we
bad
can't be-
person.
I don't like dolls in movies. They're too creepy. Can't do it.
Oh my god! I'm so sad right now. It was bad enough that Tyler didn't see them. So
I watched
I'm
part
literally
of the TV show.
the TV
part of
show, but you can't mention the Mark Hamill movie. That's not real.
That's
didn't
not
happen.
That's
real.
why it was so easy to watch, though.
That didn't happen. But Buddy didn't happen. It's not Buddy.
I gotta go
Okay,
watch
it's
those.
Chucky.
He looked nice
Yeah.
in it. He didn't look so mean.
Yes. Take the time, please, for
Yeah.
me. If you guys love me in
I'm-
any way,
Yeah.
Child's Play 1, Child's Play
Okay.
2, Child's Play 3.
Wow, being
You could-
emotionally
you-
blackmailed to watch these movies.
I know.
You can stop. You can stop after that, or you can skip to Curse and Cult. Don't watch the two in between.
Okay.
You don't, and then you can go to the TV show. But I would say 1, 2, 3. 2 is my number 1.
I was gonna just say that I looked at Rotten Tomatoes.
2 for a lot of reasons. So mine has, like Chad, has a personal connection. I've
Okay.
talked about this on my previous podcast, Media Masterminds. I might have talked about it with Tyler too, but I was able to see this movie at 8 years old in the movie theater at a screener because
Damn.
my late dad, having a comic book store, heavily promoted movies and had movie posters, and we were invited to a screener. My mom took me, and we were sitting in that theater, and I didn't know what we were seeing. They did like a little raffle. My mother won a Chucky doll at a raffle before we even saw the movie. So I'm
Yeah.
holding this doll, really, really happy. Then the movie came on and lost my shit because you have this killer doll with a personality of a serial killer that has
Yeah.
quips like Freddy, but is brutal like any other slasher that's been out there at that time. And for me, this is like my first foray into like horror. And to see this kid who's been traumatized, I never saw the first one at this point, you know what I mean? And to see this kid is in foster care, and he's with foster parents that know that there's something off, so they expect him to be weird. So when he's acting normal because Chucky is doing what he's doing, you kind of really feel for the kid, like, oh my god, like you're in like such a shitty situation, like, oh, what are the odds? Yeah, it's
Yeah.
definitely the kid, it's definitely your fault.
Yeah.
And then people just start dying, like that's, and it's just constant death. But
Yeah.
Chucky's just got a way with words, and he's got a relationship with this kid. The kid Andy Barkley he's got a vendetta. So like, minor spoiler is Chucky he wants to get out of the body. That's the idea. He was a human first, serial killer named Charles Lee Ray that was killed in a toy store. And before he died, he transferred his soul to the doll. So the idea was that it was supposed to be temporary. And then he was told through voodoo, the first person that he would tell his secret to is the
Yeah.
person he could transfer his soul to. Guess who that is? Hi, Andy. So he spends these movies trying to get out of the doll, ideally. And the longer he's in the doll, the bigger risk he has of staying in that doll. So he'll start bleeding. He'll start actually, like if you cut him, he'll become a little more fleshy versus than just a plastic doll. So there's just a lot to it. But the end of this movie taking place in a toy factory. That's how I'm gonna leave it.
Yeah.
It's like never been done to this day, and
Yeah.
it's just in such a massive scale. And I just remember being on the edge of my seat as a kid, like, I want this kid to win. I want this kid to win. And then the soundtrack is just on another level. And the fact that we have a series now
Yeah.
that pretty much the only thing that they really captured from all the originals
Yeah.
is the theme from part 2. That song was only used in that movie, and it's amazing. They did it in a weird way now, but if you listen to that, like, that's where a lot of that inspiration of like toy bells for music, like
Yeah.
horror music, Child's Play 2.
Okay.
So
Okay.
Very well.
near and dear to my heart, I love Chucky. I hope one day to meet the voice, Brad Dourif. He is an amazing actor. He's been in a lot of other stuff as well, but for those that watch the show, his daughter's on the show with him.
Okay.
And there's scenes where there's flashbacks, and she
Yeah.
dresses up as him in human form, which is just like crazy.
That's
So
cool.
That's
Yeah.
neat.
that's
So is
where
he
I
kind of
just-
like? Is he kind of like Freddy Krueger in a sense where he talks shit? Is that kind of like his whole thing? Like,
Yep.
I've seen some things where like he runs around with a knife, and I'm like, okay,
dude,
like,
there's literally a scene in the early part of the movie where he's hiding in somebody's trunk in backseat,
yeah,
and he freaking puts a water gun to the guy's neck, and he's like, "Park this piece of shit." Like, and he'll be like, "Bang, you're dead." Then he squirts him with water. Then he takes a plastic bag and suffocates him.
Oh, that's
God.
And he's
pretty cool.
he's got that.
I'm gonna start watching him. Yeah,
Yeah, and he's got a diabolical scream. To me, he's got the best laugh / scream ever in any
Yeah.
horror icon. So that's mine. And if you couldn't tell already, I have my love of Chucky. I have Super 7, Funko, NECA, and I have a huge mega one that actually talks lines from the second movie. So
that's cool.
Nice.
thank you for letting me share. I still can't believe that none of you have seen the movie. Please, let's reconvene by the end of the month. If you go all just watch one. Watch
Okay.
part 2 for me. And
Okay,
then we can talk about it again.
I
that's
gotta
fair.
finish up this Saw marathon and then
Yeah.
I'll
Yes.
get it done.
I did that
So
in
get
2
it
days.
done.
I'm just saying, not trying to brag.
Yeah.
But trying to brag a little bit.
Perks of a newborn. I can just put the newborn on my lap and we just watch all the movies.
Exactly. Yeah, it doesn't work the same with the 8, 6, and 4-year-olds. Hey guys, come hang out while I watch Saw.
Yeah. I got to do Predator again now.
Yeah, I recently did
Yeah.
all of Alien and Predator.
I'm getting into, we got to all get into the horror mode. I just started watching, I didn't finish it yet, but I started watching VHS 85.
Oh, nice.
Like, incredible like artwork. And I was like, even if the movie's terrible, greatest poster ever.
Yeah, you like that poster.
But I love
All
it's found footage, so I'm a sucker for that.
So
Segue.
Benny, work us backwards. We'll start with you, and we'll do lightning round. We'll do video games, and we'll do it backwards. We'll go back through, and
There we go.
Okay.
You started.
Horror game, right? Real quick. So we
yeah, favorite horror
okay,
game.
cool. I already got mine. Let's go.
All right,
This
Benny,
is-
give
this
it up.
is easy
Give up
peasy.
the ghost.
Original Resident Evil 1.
Ooh, nice,
Nothing will top it. But
nice.
there is a very, very, very important note of Alone in the Dark for the PC, Tandy PC, like 90s PC before Windows, as my first inspiration for horror. But as a game, Resident Evil 1 changed the game.
Like the original, not even like the remake one.
PlayStation 1.
Oh wow.
PlayStation-
Okay.
This was my first pre-order ever
Mhm.
in my life for a game that was sold to me by somebody in the store, an employee of Electronics Boutique, pitching me on this game. Game takes place in a mansion, and there's a bunch of zombies. Okay, let's go.
God.
That
We knew nothing
I
else.
can,
We
that
knew
makes
nothing.
sense.
Scared the shit out of me. The dogs. Dog scene. Everybody knows the dog. Raise your hand if you don't know the dog scene.
Oh, we all
Come
know
on.
the dogs.
Yeah, we all know
played,
the
I
dog.
haven't played the first one, if I'm being honest with you.
Oh no.
Oh,
You got to play it. It's
sad.
so
I haven't
good.
played. I haven't played 1, 2, or 3. I
Ooh.
know 2. I watched part of 2, but I did
Well,
not.
for the
play
record, we know you're not a big gamer like us, so we get that.
That's true. Yeah.
So I'll,
But
I'll
you're gonna be
give you
very
that one.
shocked on what I picked though, because it is very, like,
Okay.
big. So yeah.
Fair
All right.
enough.
We'll get there. All right.
Yep.
So OG Resident Evil, PlayStation 1, Benny. Monica, what do you got?
Oh wow. See, now I'm like I should have picked like Resident Evil 2 or Resident Evil 3, but I actually like the game I really like playing during like Halloween is actually Silent Hill 3. I really I really like Silent Hill 3 because it's like
Classic.
it's a continuation of 1 where you have the dad from Silent Hill 1, and it's like then you have Heather, who's a 17-year-old girl that's just like has a bad dream, wakes up in a mall or like a burger place, and is like some guy just starts like talking to her, and it's like
Mhm.
the way she reacts towards everyone is just very much just like how you would react if you were in like a horror game. You're like, who the fuck are you? Like, leave me
Yeah.
alone. Like, are you creepy? No. And it just has like all the monsters, and it has a religious element in it too, because she's supposed to be like part of like basically like this cult, and they're trying to like rebirth this
Yeah.
god. So it's just very, very intense. So I would have to say that's my favorite. Like, just like it's the most fun to play. Like the controls aren't too hard, because a lot of the Silent Hill games, it's like I've gotten lost a lot in those games.
Yeah, they're definitely products of their time.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's like definitely like storyline just like flows very well in it. Yeah, I would have to say that's probably my favorite one. And also there, there's a part that she goes, "It's bread," and I feel like that's iconic.
We might see more of that sooner than later
We
too,
might.
right?
Yeah, maybe.
You're solid on that pick, and I know it's kind of sacrilegious, especially in this group. But I like the Silent Hill games as a whole. I like Silent Hill more than Resident Evil. Now,
Ooh.
Resident Evil has better entries, and they've continued making amazing games into modern times, basically. So Resident Evil is better overall for sure. But for me, like the story and what Silent Hill is, I like Silent Hill better.
Yeah, it
And
has more
Pyramid
like a
Head is
psychological like horror with it too, compared
Yeah.
to like Resident Evil, is just like scary zombies, scary dogs, and it's like fighting, a lot of fighting, and you get a little bit of story. But Silent Hill, just like
Yeah.
especially 2, is really in depth with like James, and just like you don't even know what's happening till the end, and you're like, oh wow, this is really
It's
fucked
such
up.
it's such a cool mystery, and
Mhm.
fucking Pyramid Head is like just one of the
Absolutely.
most iconic game characters
God.
ever. I love them. I love the terrible movies too. I do.
Oh,
I
he's
like
great
them.
in the first movie when he
Yes!
like, rips off that woman's skin and throws it at the church. Oh,
Yes. It was so well done.
My jaw dropped when I saw that.
Right?
Dude, seriously. Yeah. Though I mean, I think it's perfect. So I'm really excited to be getting some more Silent Hill. Which is really cool.
Yeah, I can't wait. I mean, there's a lot of stuff coming out. I think there's like an interactive game. I don't know if it's come out yet,
That's
but
the end of the month.
End of the
Yeah.
month. Okay.
Yeah,
Silent Hill
there's
Ascension, I believe it's called.
Yeah, Silent Hill is
Mhm.
due for a proper comeback.
Oh,
They're
yeah,
due
it's
for
been- they've been
Konami to stop
teasing
fucking
the remake.
around.
Well,
Mm.
they're teasing the remake of 2 with Blue.
They just need
Blue
to do it. They need to do it like Metal Gear and just do a collection, a remade collection.
They need good ports.
Well, here's the problem: is
know.
that they actually did an HD collection for 1 through 3, but then I know
On the
they redid
PS3,
the
yeah.
voices,
2
and
and
it
2
was
and 3.
awful.
2 and 3.
Oh, it's 2
I
and
heard
3?
that
Okay.
I heard
Yeah,
the
they redid
collection
the
was not
voices.
very good.
It was
Yeah, I
not. I
don't-
got it and I played it and I was
It's
so
broken.
pissed. I got it
It's
on
broken.
the PS3 or whatever, and it was awful. Awful.
Mm.
Well,
I heard that
Konami get refunds for it.
Really,
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For-
It was really
So
bad.
and they remade the first one, but they made it for PS2 and the Wii.
Right.
Oh, you
And-
mean
and-
Shattered Memories?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
which was a
cool.
totally different thing, because it was you're talking to like a therapist, and depending on like what you actually see and look at, like
Yeah, it was
changes
like a
what the game, what
retelling.
happens in the game. Yeah, so it's not really a retelling
Yeah.
because it's like it makes there be like multiple endings to the game that didn't happen in the actual original game.
Yep.
And he's a bitch in that one. Sorry. He
I
was
will
just
say
like-
playing that game on the Wii though is hilarious because you don't actually fight monsters, you just shake them off
Just-
you. So you're just
yeah.
shaking the controller. Oh, it's
You shake
Shake
weighting
weight.
your way to.
Yeah. Shake weight your way to victory.
so true.
All right.
Thanks for the
everybody,
shake weight.
Yeah.
everybody knows what my answer is. There's no
Is it
surprises
Bloodborne
here. Yes, that's it, Chad. You nailed it. And no, Braden, it's not. Bloodborne is not my favorite horror game because it's really not horror. It's it's a Souls.
Yeah,
It's a
It's
Souls
just a little
Souls
Lovecraftian
like
stuff.
in with Lovecraftian elements, but I would not ever consider Bloodborne horror.
yeah, I know, I'm just
Mine
throwing
is
it
Dead
up.
Space. Easy, all day, every day, not even close.
Remake of the original.
And the original.
Mm.
I love the remake. I love the remake. The remake is incredible, but the original is the best one. Like that.
Yeah,
Obviously, right now, if I have to sit down and play one, I pick the remake. But if I'm picking my favorite game, it's the original
the
game.
original.
And
Yeah.
it was perfect, and
Scary shit.
it's close. You know, two is a very close second, but I've got to give it to the original one.
Okay.
And part of it is how closely tied to Event Horizon it was. As you know, the story goes, it was so heavily inspired by that movie. And
Mhm.
being a big fan of the movie, it just was kind of a natural thing. But it's also just the best horror game. It's the scariest horror game, and it was such an original idea. I love it. I love it so much. I feel like there's no
Yeah.
contest.
It's
What you got,
definitely up
Braden?
there.
So no one else has mentioned it, so that makes me pretty happy, especially with the second one being around the corner. But I think Alan Wake is probably my favorite horror
Oh.
game
It's a good
Uh,
game.
that I
Monica,
played is
Monica
very
was just
good.
live streaming that.
I'm playing that game right. It's the second time I've played it, but
Yeah.
I've been live streaming it.
I played through
I like
it
Alan Wake because
years
it's so
ago.
close to Silent Hill. It's a very
Yeah.
it's spiritually in the same vein as Silent
Yeah,
Hill, which is
and
why
It's
I've always
actually
liked Alan
tied
Wake.
to. It's in the same universe as Control too. If
Yeah,
anyone doesn't play that
Control.
game.
And then I think there was some Quantum Break stuff that kind of falls into it because I think that's the same people.
It
Yep.
is, yeah.
Mhm.
It's
Like
all
the
Remedy.
like writer writing this horror movie or this horror novel that he ends up getting stuck in and then fighting his way out of it, but not knowing he's in it for the longest time is just like it's really really cool. And like the whole needing a flashlight to be able to fight something, or maybe not even having a way to defend yourself, but using a flashlight to stun the enemies and having to run from them. So it's kind of like you can fight back like other survival horrors, but you're not like always really fighting back. I think that's in the whole premise of just like trying to go on a vacation and then getting sucked into this whole my own writing is trying to kill me is actually very very cool, and I think it's unique and something that I don't think I've ever really seen in another game before, especially with
Yeah.
the subject coming up that I'm very excited for.
Mhm.
Is that the
Yep.
one where
Same.
like the light it like dies, or am I tripping? Is that not the one where you have to like recharge the flashlight or something?
There's a couple different games like that. Alan Wake has that, but also the Outlast series has that as well.
Yeah.
But it's like a battery
Yeah.
and like the camcorder to have like
Okay.
the
Yeah, the night
mode
vision.
on.
Yeah, Alan
Yeah.
Wake, you have to use your flashlight to. You do run out of charges in it, but it's like you have to use it to make the enemies vulnerable to then actually be able to shoot them or damage them.
Okay,
Mhm.
cool.
Yeah.
And that's third person versus Outlast being first person.
Yeah,
Outlast
Yeah.
has no combat. Outlast is escaping.
It's just a
And
scary.
Yeah.
Outlast-
Alan Wake, you fight.
Is so terrifying. The second one,
So-
like the
Yeah.
jump scares are like I barely beat that game.
I've been sitting here thinking Outlast was going to be Chad's choice, so now I'm interested because I had you pegged as Outlast being the one, being not a huge gamer. That's one of the ones that really crossed into people that really don't play very many games because there's no
Yeah.
content. It's
Yeah.
just surviving. It's just an interactive horror movie basically.
Yeah.
So now
well, they
I'm-
do have
I'm
those. They do
intrigued.
have the dark pictures for that.
Oh, those
Well,
are really
yeah.
good too, though. Yeah, those are fun.
All right, so if it's not Outlast, what do you got, Chad? Close us out.
Okay, so
Close us out
I have
strong.
two.
Drum-
I have,
drum roll,
I have
drum
two.
roll.
I have two. So one of them is more like I know it's more mainstream now, but my heart will always go to Resident Evil 4.
Yeah.
Ever since I was 14, I had the GameCube, and I scared shitless when you had to go through the mansion and just playing Ashley and just wanted to shit myself because you can't defend yourself at all.
Mhm. Yep.
And yeah, Outlast DLC #1 for the first game, where that guy like takes
Whistleblower?
you.
Is that
Yeah,
the one? Okay.
I think that is the one where he wants you to be his bride, and he cuts your penis off and everything. Bro, well, I have never
Spoiler
played
alert.
a game. I have never played a game with the lights on with 100% brightness and the volume muted. I have never been that scared of anything in my life. Dead Space was up there too. Dead Space scared the shit out of me. But Outlast was another level because I couldn't defend myself. You're just
Yeah.
running around hiding under a desk with a camcorder and this dude's trying to steal you. I'm like, no, I'm good. I'm good. So yeah.
See, I
Oh,
didn't
Alien
know if there
Isolation was
any-
another good one. Now that I was thinking about it, of other ones that I played.
Yeah.
Isolation is good.
But Resident Evil 4 too, like for me, Resident Evil 4 was perfect. Then you got 5, which was good, and then you had horrible 6.
Oh,
And I was
God.
6 though is
I-
fun with friends. I will say
It's
that.
a fun co-op game.
But it's not enough for me if you're trying to if I have to play with a friend, because like Resident Evil 4, I remember I'd come home and I'd
Mhm.
play for hours, and it was just you were so immersed in Leon, even though Ashley was really annoying. You were so immersed in Leon, and then like fighting Salazar and just building all that up, and the several hours of saving up to get a rocket launcher, and just that the Wesker fight, everything about that game to me was just perfect as a 14-year-old kid. Like
Yeah.
Yeah, 6 just eschewed the horror way too much, and it just became a shooter. It was just an action game,
Didn't
and
they,
that
like,
was the
China?
problem.
In 6, they
It
did.
was-
I don't
Yeah,
know.
like-
Yeah,
I
it was in a
honestly,
bunch
I don't
of
think
like a bio bomb.
I don't think I
Yeah.
made it through every one of the stories because they were all the individual little
I did
storylines
play
or
through. I
whatever.
played through that whole game twice. One more recently, and it sure is a
It's
fun
not
co-op
bad.
shooter, and that's all I'm
It
gonna
is,
say
that's what
about
saying,
that.
It's fun to do co-op.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
fun. Like the movement.
Yeah,
in
but
that
it's
game
not a
is
good-
fun, but
it's not a
man, that is
survival
not
horror
a good
game.
Resident Evil game.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's definitely not a
No.
survival horror game.
Didn't
Yeah.
they decanonize it, and that's why 7 happened? Because they even said no, we're just gonna go ahead and step away
Well,
from it.
I mean, they definitely like, they don't think they decanonized it, but they
Yeah.
just like had a new character come in, and then they brought
Okay.
Chris back for 7 also.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're like, we need to make this more horror. And here's the thing: is that people were so scared. 'Cause I remember like the very beginning of the game, I stopped for like 3 months 'cause I was so scared. But because
guy.
of that, when Village came out, they were just like, okay, we can't make it as scary as 7 because people
Yeah.
weren't playing 7 because of it. But it's funny, after Village came out, everyone went back and played 7, and it became one of their like best selling titles then.
yeah,
Yeah.
Villages
good
with the
reason,
really
though.
tall lady with the hand.
yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Lady
Lady
I like how you
Green.
specify with the hand, not,
Well, 'cause
not
it's
with
like that-
anything else. Not her other
Oh.
distinguishing features. The tall lady with the hand.
Yeah.
I just remember
She's very
watching
tall.
like I just remember watching a thing where like the guy like goes to grab the thing and she like slices off his arm or whatever, and I'm just
Yeah.
like, oh, okay.
You just
Oh,
rub
yeah.
some,
No
you
more
know,
hand for you, buddy.
Oh,
Yeah,
Wait.
shoot.
wait till you learn what happens with that hand.
She-
It's very weird.
Dude.
Well, I have to say, poor Jeffrey the giraffe. That was his darkest day for Resident Evil 6. I'll just leave it at that. For those that know, if you don't know, just use
If-
Google.
yeah, I was like, if you know, you know.
I've spoken
All
to some
right.
of you offline.
Yeah, no kidding.
It's crazy.
All right. Well, this
That's
was
a
a
good
fun,
way to wrap it
fun, yeah, fun start to the month of horror. Start, continuation, whatever it is. But there will be more. I have a special guest lined up for a Candyman deep dive, Benny, into the original and the 2021. And that should be really fun. I'm working with him right now to coordinate scheduling. And then we have some guests coming on to do obscure horror, like stuff that you're not mainstream, not coming to AMC theaters. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So we've got
As
we've
long
got
as
some
we're not
obs-
talking about Serbian film, I'll be part of it. If we do
No,
Serbian
yeah.
film, I'm not coming on.
Are we talking
No,
about
that's not
gospel and
horror.
stuff,
That's
or
just
what are we
bad.
talking about?
No, like
No,
like true obscure, like C horror, D horror.
Oh, I was
Yeah, oh,
I'm down
yeah,
for
it's
real
gonna be-
horror. Like,
It's
I'm
gonna
down.
be a blast. But
Quite
so we've got
questionable horror.
yes.
Oh, okay.
We've got some good stuff coming up though, so definitely stick around for the month of October. We'll have a lot more fun stuff coming your way. But until then, thank you guys for being on and doing this fun episode on a Sunday night.
yeah.
This was fun. I'm glad we get to learn more about each other too. That was the best part
Yeah,
of
that's
this.
nice.
I mean, I
I'll
kind
watch
of
that.
I spoiled you, but I gave you a nice, good follow up, and now you all have homework. I expect you all to watch Child's Play 2.
Got it.
All right,
Someday.
everybody. We hope you have a great
Bye.
night. Take care and have fun, everybody.
Have a great one.
Guys.
See ya.